Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I'm so happy that you've decided to join us today on our little Animal Crossing adventure. Today, of course, I'm working on my Pastel Kidcore island of Patagonia. We've done several builds so far on the island, and my plan today is I'm finally going to get started on my shopping district. So I've had my Able Sisters and my Nook's Cranny back here on this little, it looks almost like a little island, and it has this little pond here in the center, and I just really like the way that it looks back in this area. And so I'm really excited to get a chance to start working on my shopping district. Now, I've been toying with the idea of this little pond here that's in the center. I think that I might actually do just a small bit of terraforming and turn this into a heart-shaped pond, because I think that that would look really cute and really sweet here nestled in between my two shops. So I might actually go ahead and do that today. I know that I was trying my best to do no terraforming, but I feel like if I want to do just a touch of terraforming to add a little character to my island, I don't see any harm in it. Now, my main focus for today's video is going to be over here next to Able Sisters. Able Sisters, if you've noticed, has just a little bit more space out beside of it than Nook's Cranny does, and I did that for a reason, because with Able Sisters I have a really good and elaborate build that I want to put right here beside of it. So I gave it just a touch bit more space than I did Nook's, because I'm not really sure what I want to do with Nook's Cranny, but that'll be just whatever I feel like in the moment is what Nook's Cranny will become. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started with the build and not waste any time today. So let's just go ahead and get started. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to change up that pond from its normal looking shape to the shape that I intend for it to be, which is a heart shape. Now, this is my first attempt at a heart-shaped pond. I've never had an island where I wanted to add a heart-shaped pond, but I felt like it was very appropriate for Patagonia, being the Kidcore island that it is. But again, I really struggled with it because I had never done it before. Here, I realized that I had made it too wide, and then I also wanted to scoot it over one. And so now I'm going back in. If you're curious about how to do this, that little L shape is 4 blocks on each side, and then you go in and you add these staggered blocks that I'm adding now, and that just gives you the basic outline. And then you can go back in like I'm doing and cut out and cut away the actual pieces of the heart shape so that you can see it. And as you can see right here, I have that little sideways heart now, which is the shape that I was going for and the shape that I had intended for this pond to be. And I really like the way that it came out. It really does fit perfectly in with Patagonia's theme, and it's the right size for this area. It's kind of a tight area, and I'm just checking it on my map just to make sure that I like it, and I've decided that I want to keep it. So I'm very glad that I decided to change it up. I know that I'm trying to do no terraforming as much as possible, but I felt like that added just a touch bit of character, and I wanted that. And so now I'm going to go in and I'm going to lay down that road path that I've been using. So the light dirt path, and then of course adding in those custom designs that add the road lines. So I want to bring those paths down to meet at that bridge, and so I'm going to go ahead and add in the paths for both Able Sisters and Nook's. I'm not going to get to Nook's today, but I wanted to go ahead and get the path out of the way and lined up so that whenever I'm ready to start on my Nook's Cranny build, it'll all be ready to go. And so here's what the path winds up looking like. I like the way that it came out. I know that both sides are just a touch bit different, but that adds a little character. And so now I'm going to go in with this stone path. I want to create like a square area for my build, because the build that I have decided on today is a little more structured, and it's kind of like usually on the interior of a building, but I wanted an exterior build for this. So I'm going in and adding in that stone path just so that I can have that little square area that I need, because today's build is is actually going to be a laundromat. So I'm really excited about building a laundromat. I've always wanted one on my islands, and I've just never had an island that I felt like a laundromat fit. So Patagonia is the perfect Kidcore island because I feel like a lot of people have these memories associated with going to the laundromat as children, and so here's my little square area that I'm going to use for the laundromat. So I'm going to go in now and start adding in my items. So I've got these automatic washers and then the deluxe washer that I kind of intermix, and I like the way that they turned out looking. I picked and decided to use the pink and yellow variations of each. I could have used the blue, but I decided that I like the way that the pink and the yellow look the most, so that's what I decided to go for. And so here I am just intermixing those. And I know that a lot of people have those memories associated with laundromats, and so whenever I decided that I was going to do a Kidcore island, I knew that I wanted a laundromat somewhere on my island. And I thought to myself, I think that I want to put it beside of Able Sisters, which I know is a little odd, because most people, whenever they build Able Sisters, they'll put some kind of like little clothes display or something outside, a little sewing area, which is great, but I've done that before, and I feel like I've never really given Able Sisters something that made it stand out, and so that's what I wanted with Patagonia's Able Sisters. I want it to be something that is cute to look at, and not just a forgotten building that exists and that I have to try to incorporate because it's in the game. I added in those little snack machines, the candy machine and then the drink machine, because of course when you're at the laundromat you're gonna get yourself a snack because you're gonna be there for a little bit. And I wanted to add in this little seating area, and so I used that little public bench because it has the blue and pink variation, which is perfect for my theme and just fits in wonderfully. So I'm going in and adding just some little cute touches, some things that I feel like really make it a laundromat besides just the washer. And so I added in, of course, the little towel baskets, but I also had this counter table that I wanted to incorporate because I thought that it could look cute as a little table for someone to fold their laundry once they get it done, because who knows, if you have a couple of loads to do, you might take the time to go ahead and just fold the laundry while you're there. And so that's what I did. I used, of course, the shopping basket as kind of like the clothes basket, which I think turned out looking really good. And then I added in the stacks of clothes. I love those little stacks of clothes that came in the 2.0 update. It really speaks laundromat to me whenever I see it. And I wanted to add in, of course, that little cherry blossom branch, and I'm glad that I put it there behind that little counter table, because it hides that black pot that it's in. It doesn't fit my Kidcore theme. Then I went in and I added in some game machines because I know that people get bored whenever they're sitting around waiting on their laundry to get done. And so they'll, of course, play pinball or maybe go to the crane machine and try to win themselves a plushie or something along that nature. And then my little seating area, I decided to turn it into a really, like lounge corner. And so I added, of course, the magazine rack so that you'd have something to read. And then I had this water cooler. I didn't like the way that it looked in front of the bench, so I scooted the bench over one and then pushed the water cooler back, which I think turned out looking a lot better. And then I realized that my ground, the little stone path, was looking really boring and really bland, and so I went back in with some of those pink and blue and yellow stones that I have, those little square patterns, and I think that it looks really, really good. And so I'm just traveling around now and adding those in wherever I feel like the ground would benefit from some extra color. Of course, I'm going back in and adding some more, touches, like a fan, because whenever you go and you're running those dryers, it of course gets hot. And so I think every laundromat I've ever seen has a fan blowing so that you don't overheat. And then I'm going in and adding those baskets and those clothes on top of the washers and dryers again, just for a little extra touch. Then I wanted to go ahead and also put some money on the ground because, of course, whenever you go to the laundromat, you're going to use quarters. And so some people, of course, will drop their quarters and different things, especially, you know, children, whenever they get around like the snack machine or, of course, the pinball machine, the game machines, they'll drop those little coins everywhere. And so I wanted to add those in as a little touch. And then, of course, the little puddle, because you never know when there's going to be a spill, especially when you're dealing with water. And along the lines of the spiel, I of course had the mop bucket, and so I put it over here in the corner, which I really liked. So I'm just going in and adding just a couple of plants as well, just to kind of make it feel a little homier. If you were ever someone who went to the laundromat as a child, let me know in the comments what your experience was. I'm really curious to hear from you. I never really used a laundromat very much. The town that I grew up in is kind of small, and we didn't really have a laundromat. We have one, I think, but it's not the best shape, so we didn't really ever use it. We never had the need to. But if you ever were someone who used a laundromat, or you are someone, let me know if you have any interesting laundromat stories. I know that on TV and things they portray the laundromat as kind of a sketchy area, a sketchy place, but let me know your personal experiences. I'm interested to hear from you all. And I wanted to go in and add some fencing as well around, just to kind of make it feel like a closed-in space. And I really like the way that the hedges and the park fence together wound up looking. I think that it turned out and added just a really nice little touch there. So I'm going in there, and then I'm going to fill in some areas around the fencing with some trees and flowers and different things, just like I normally do. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to do that. Now, my next build will be Nook's Cranny, because I want to finish off this little shopping district area. And so I was thinking, I have a lot of items in my storage that I'm not really sure what to do with. And so I think that I'm going to turn the exterior of Nook's into a little yard sale, because I also want to incorporate a yard sale. Now, yard sales are something that I did quite a bit as a child, and so that really ties into the Pastel Kidcore theme. And so I think I'm going to go with a yard sale outside of Nook's, and I think it'll look really cute. The laundromat and the yard sale right here on this little island area. And I'm just really excited for my shopping district. I've never had a shopping district that I really felt connected to, and I feel like I really like the shopping district and the ideals that I've come up with for Patagonia. And so I'm just going in, finishing up those little areas, adding in flowers and weeds so that I don't have any empty dead space. I just want to make sure that the area looks nice, and so that's what I'm going in and doing right now. And so now there's just a couple of extra little touches that I want to add to the laundromat, and those were some socks. I wanted to scatter those around because I feel like when you go to the laundromat, there's going to be socks everywhere, because I know that people lose socks. I don't know about you all, but whenever I go to do my laundry, it seems like socks tend to disappear quite frequently. And then I wanted, of course, to add some gyroids, because I love gyroids. I love to incorporate them. Whenever I had a forest core island, I would hide gyroids in the forest just wherever I could, because I love the little gyroids. My favorite one is the bubbleoid. I love that it blows those little bubbles, adds a little bit of character. And so here's just me double checking, making sure there's nothing else that I want to add in. I did go ahead and add a bike, because someone, might have swung by to do their laundry and just rode their bike. So it could also be one of the Able sisters. And so I'm going back in. I'm going to add also that little snack, because I love adding those little drop snacks, because it adds just a touch of kidcore, because kids tend to drop their snacks and just leave them. So that'll do it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed this little speed build of the laundromat outside of Able Sisters. I've always wanted to do a laundromat, and I just feel like Able Sisters was the perfect spot for it. I had this little rectangle, and I knew that I wanted to incorporate a little area for my villagers and myself to do our laundry and just hang out and chill together. And I really like the way that it come out, and I hope that you did too. Let me know in the comments if you would have done anything differently. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!